nights he continued on ahead, going up to Jerusalem. As Jesus approached Bethphage and Bethany on the Mount of Olives, he gave 2 disciples a task. He said, "Go into the village over there. When you enter it, you will find tied up there a colt that no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If someone asks, 'Why are you untying the colt?' Just say, or 'Why are you untying it?' Just say, 'Its master needs it.'" They brought it to Jesus, threw their clothes on the colt, and lifted Jesus onto it. As Jesus rode along, they spread their clothes on the road. As Jesus approached the road leading down from the Mount of Olives, the whole throng of his disciples began rejoicing. They praised God with a loud voice because of all the mighty things they had seen. They said, "Blessings on the King who comes in the name of the Lord, peace in heaven and glory in the highest heavens." When some of the Pharisees from the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, scold your disciples. Tell them to stop." He answered, "I tell you, if they were silent, the stones would shout." As Jesus approached the city and observed it, he wept over it. He said, "If only you knew, on this of all days, the things that lead to peace. But now they are hidden from your eyes. The time will come when your enemies will build fortifications around you, encircle you, and attack you from all sides. They will crush you completely, you and the people within you. They won't leave one stone on top of another within you, because you didn't recognize the time of your gracious visit from God." When Jesus entered the temple, he threw out those who were selling things there. He said to them, "It is written, 'My house will be a house of prayer,' but you have made it a hideout for crooks." Jesus was teaching daily in the temple. The chief priests, legal experts, and the foremost leaders among the people were seeking to kill him. However, they couldn't find a way to do it because all the people were enthralled with what they heard. Chapter 21. On one of the days when Jesus was teaching the people in the temple and proclaiming the good news, the chief priests, legal experts, and elders approached him. They said, "Tell us, what kind of authority do you have for doing these things? Who gave you this authority?" He replied, "I have a question for you. Tell me, was John's baptism of heavenly or of human origin?" They discussed among themselves. "If we say it's of heavenly origin," he'll say, "why didn't you believe him? But if we say it's of human origin, all the people will stone us to death because they are convinced that John was a prophet." They answered that they didn't know where it came from. Then Jesus replied, "Neither will I tell you what kind of authority I have for doing these things." Jesus told the people this parable. A certain man planted a vineyard, rented it to tenant farmers, and went on a trip for a long time. When it was time, he set a servant to collect from the tenants his share of the fruit of the vineyard. But the tenants sent him away, beaten and empty-handed. The man sent another servant, but they beat him, treated him disgracefully, and sent him away empty-handed as well. He sent a third servant. They wounded this servant and threw him out. The owner of the vineyard said, "What should I do?" "I'll send my son, whom I dearly love. Perhaps they will respect him." But when they saw him, they said to each other, "This is the heir. Let's kill him, so the inheritance will be ours." They threw him out of the vineyard and killed him. What will the owner of the vineyard do to them? He will come and destroy those tenants and give the vineyard to others. When the people heard this, they said, "May this never happen." Staring at them, Jesus said, "Then what is the meaning of this text of Scripture? The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Everyone who falls on that stone will be crushed, and the stone will crush the person it falls on." The chief priests and legal experts wanted to arrest Jesus right then because they knew he had told the parable against them, but they feared the people. The legal experts and chief priests were watching Jesus closely and sent spies who pretended to be sincere. They wanted to trap Jesus in his words so they could hand him over to the jurisdiction and authority of the governor. They asked, "Teacher, we know that you are correct in what you say and teach. You don't show favoritism, but teach God's way as it really is. Does the law allow people to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" Since Jesus recognized their deception, he said to them, "Show me a coin. Whose image and inscription does it have on it?" "Caesar's," they replied. He said to them, "Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God." They couldn't trap him in his words in front of the people. Astonished by his answer, they were speechless. Some Sadducees who deny that there's a resurrection came to Jesus and asked, "Teacher, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies, leaving a widow but no children, the brother must marry the widow and raise up children for his brother. Now, there were 7 brothers. The first man married a woman and died childless. The second and the third brother married her. Eventually, all 7 married her, and they all died without leaving any children. Finally, the woman died too in the resurrection. Whose wife will she be? All 7 were married to her." Jesus said to them, "People who belong to this age marry and are given in marriage. But those who are considered worthy to participate in that age, that is, in the age of the resurrection of the dead, won't marry nor be given in marriage. They can no longer die because they are like angels and are God's children, since they share in the resurrection. Even Moses demonstrates that the dead are raised in the passage about the bush when he speaks of the Lord as the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. To him, they are all alive." One of the legal experts responded, "Teacher, you have answered well." No one dared to ask him anything else. Jesus said to them, "Why do they say that the Christ is David's son? David himself says in the scroll of the Psalms, 'The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right side until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet.' Since David calls him Lord, how can he be David's son?" In the presence of all the people, Jesus began to speak first to his disciples. "Watch out for the legal experts. They like to walk around in long robes. They love being greeted with honor in the markets. They long for the places of honor in the synagogues and at banquets. They are the ones who cheat widows out of their homes, and to show off, they say long prayers. They will be judged most harshly.